All right, excellent. Well, let me, and Nate, I'll turn it over to you after I just say a couple of words. First and foremost is thanks for agreeing to do this. Actually, I found that I think Nate and I, did a lot of calls, and it actually was pretty cool when you reach out to folks and just talk to them, and just visit a little bit. And of course, you know all the folks in your squadron, so it really does it end up being something that brings you together. I think it's great. And then I'd also mention that really the whole, I've talked, most of the folks that I talked to, I think Nick probably did the same thing. But I think Jim Smith and the gift committee tried to do all they could to reach out, keep everybody updated over the last couple of years. And you saw those in Jim's messages. And then what I did was I took kind of the overall stuff, and then just kind of write my own. I think we sent you kind of the draft that I played with a little bit, so that it was more like for this. It's kind of a different group that we're hitting now, and I think, but you can use it or not use it, whatever you want to do. But I just thought that having something, and I think Tom Hayden had given one that I think I took a little bit out of, and took some others. And so anyway, I think everybody did it a little differently, but I think at least you have what you need. And then you have all of the contact info on your squadron 74 mates. And if there is a problem, I will say on a couple of ones as we reached out, the numbers didn't work. But I went back to Roz and said, "Hey, can you go back and check again?" And so she does. She hits a different group, and then was always able to come up with the right number. So a couple of different things. Let me just go through the list of what I have, and Nate, jump in if I'm thinking everybody said yes, but I don't. You and I hadn't talked since you hadn't reached out to everybody yet. I got Rob as 21st. Jay is on 22nd. Scott Hamilton, I think you just mentioned. So he's been in the middle of this, I think. So he's good.
And I haven't reached him, Duncan.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. Oh, that might have been Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, the number we had for Scott Hamilton didn't connect. So I'm gonna try his email.
Okay. Okay, and we got Hank, my old Norton buddy. So Hank, I won't tell any stories on you if you won't tell any stories on me.
It's a deal.
Never.
And then I understand Scott McLaughlin was 25th, 26th, Jim Boone.
Yep.
27th, Mike McQuett, 28th, Gil Perry, 29th, Frosty, and 30th is Chris Kelly.
Yeah, update, Dunk. Mike McCann is living out of a mobile home, driving around the country, and he declined, but he gave me John Reynolds and Drew Milner, and I reached out to both those guys. I haven't heard back from either one of them yet, but we'll get somebody for 27.
Okay, got it. Okay. And one of the reasons we wanted to get going here, basically Jim's message went out to everybody. So they've got, to all the class, at least whoever we have connectivity with. And so I think the class seems to understand. We had a mini reunion. I know Jay came out for the mini reunion where we actually walked the trail and met the cadets and did all that, and did that last summer. And we had probably 60 people or so. It all went very well. But I think that also good feedback. But also then I think they let the class know. So some very good things. But I'll tell you the part that hits me is. Hang on just a second. The part that hits me was just everybody that actually walked the ground and went up there, and whether that was a senior leader or whether that was a classmate or whether that was the cadets. Everyone went, wow, we had no idea what this was. We didn't know these views that we could have.
Yeah.
And we also think that COVID really drove the classes where their one escape was to go out running or go out hiking or go out jumping a hammock. So they're more outdoorsy than we were even. And so I think that at the end of the day, everybody was very positive about it, to include the academy leadership. So we showed it to the superintendent, to the dean, and to the comm, and all of them said, we totally support this. Yeah. And so in fact, one of the things that the superintendent did is he actually fronted the initial money that allowed us to begin the design. So, and it really started us early, so it really helped. But anyway, we've got very good feedback on how that's going. And I'll tell you, our contractor, I think I'm trying to think whether you have that in the materials, but the person that did the design was the #1 architect for landscape architect for colleges in the country.
Yeah.
Colleges and universities. So the #1, and
Did a
so
great job.
what they do. And I think you could see it in the renditions, but how they actually ran and got everybody's feedback on it. And then the cadets said, hey, here's some things, and we brought up things, and they would adjust to that. So I think all that side is positive. So I think there's a lot, and we've done very well with that first 15 to 20%, where it was folks that had donated for the academy. So the AOG knew these folks have already given. So we reached out to them, and I think, Roz, I think we're over the 900 mark if all the pledges come in, and so more than we thought. We were hoping to get at least 800,000 with that group, and we got 900,000 plus. So we got about 1.1 is kind of the what is being talked about right now, 1.16. And I would say when people ask, well, what if you go over, it will just allow us to maybe open maybe a couple other smaller places off the trail where you have just a 2-person place, or, there'll be plenty of room to be able to do that. Plus, we want to make sure that we've got the sustainment, which is in there for the long term. And so we just can make sure that that's maybe even a little bit more robust. So we got good use for that if we didn't have it. And one of the original things, and we did tell this at the mini, was that the reason we did it the way we did it, we said, if it's 4 pods in it, we don't have enough money, we'll just do 3. And if we have more money, we'll do more. And so that's how we did it. So it allowed us to be flexible. So with that little bit of background, I really do appreciate, I know Nate does, and we've talked a lot, Jim Smith knows that you guys have done this, and we know it's not easy, but I tell you what, it was well worth it from my standpoint, just talking to everybody. So with that, Nate, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I want to just echo what you said. I didn't have one bad phone call, you guys. I didn't get yeses from everybody, by the way, but I didn't have one bad phone call, including guys that are, I forget the name of it, I think Stars or something, guys who are adamant about how bad the academies run and how bad the AOG is misrepresenting graduates. Even those guys, first of all, I listened a lot to them, but then I said, look, this is for the cadets. And pretty sure every one of the guys from Stars that I talked to made a pledge also. So to me, it was just a lot of fun catching up with people that I knew, introducing myself to some people that I didn't know from before. One of the Nicole will tell you give you all the secrets of this thing, but the one thing I know that works is to ask people for a specific amount of money. And and I kind of did one of these and kind of got a sense of what I thought somebody's net worth and their income might be. A retired 4-star general who's now a board member and a management consultant can do pretty well. And so, my sense of it is anybody who's got any income of any substance can do $1,000 a year for 5 years. Certainly, anybody can do, unless they're living out of the sidewalk on a tent, can do $74 every year for 5 years. So, at this point, you guys, it's more about participation than the dollar amount, because we're going to hit our number. If we all do our job, we're going to hit our number. You have the same sentiment too, huh, Duncan?
Yeah,
about participation at this point.
Yeah, I actually would just send them the pyramid and say, hey, here's what we're trying to get to. And I would say that I didn't push for a specific number with folks. I just said, how do you fit into this? I used Rich Cheney. And I said, but we really are just want everybody to participate and give what you can do, because I have no idea what their personal. So I was a little bit less. I did not ask for specific numbers from people. I just let them. Again, I can send that pyramid chart to all of you, but I used that and just said, this is, where do you see yourself? And that was a Rich Cheneyism.
Oh, that's a great way to do it too. Yeah, that's
and you just say, here it is, and we're down there. And, you know, the 1,000 to 2,000, you know, that range of, you know, folks over 5 years, they might be able to do that. And some people will surprise you and give more than you thought they would even give. And that was like, wow, I had no idea they would do that. So I would just say, whatever you're comfortable with it, making sure you're comfortable with how you do it. Again, I did not give a number. I will send you the pyramid one, and I just send them the pyramid, or I just talk to it. But the big thing that I think when you have your call is to make sure that they know that they have 5 years. That some people think about their 72nd year, where their 401k or something, and so it ends up from a tax standpoint that really works. For others, from a tax standpoint, they may want to do it all up front. And then, but as long as they know, the thing that I think is really good about that, and it really speaks to the foundation, is that, you know, once you've done the pledge, then they will front the money. And so as long as we have that pledged in the 5-year period, then they front the money. And of course, you know, I'm sure there's some leakage, Nicole and Roz, but I would say that it's very low. You know, most people meet their pledge. And so the AOG or the foundation has decided that's how they'll do that. So I would say that's a really good news. And that's where you can do it over 5 years. And that way, for some people, that would allow them to give a little bit more. So I would say those are the two, you know, I think that you, as Nate said, and I think Nicole, when she goes through this, if you can think that a lot of this was for the gift committee when we're first going out to folks that did give quite a bit. So it's a little bit different now because we all agreed that the participation was something that we really wanted everybody to be a part of. And so that was the bigger deal here. And so again, I think reaching out and making sure whatever they can give, that'd be great. And again, I will send out the pyramid chart to you because it actually helped, I think, certainly helped me, and it helped me be able to talk to them about the 5-year, and that, you know, we do have people that gave quite a bit, but there's also the real money will come in with people giving $1,000. I mean, a number of the folks coming in and doing that, or 2,000 or 5,000. So with that, let me see. So you've heard enough from Nate and I, and we'll turn it over to Nicole Tugg, who is the head of the gift, the gift team, and Roz works for her. So the two of them, you know, I'm guessing, Nicole, I call Roz the most, but I'll call you anytime too. So I think you're both very available
Please.
to help, and they have been superb. And every time I've called them with, hey, I need this or I need that, they've been superb. And once you've done the folks says, yes, we do want to give, you don't have to have more of a discussion. You just I sent an email to them to say thanks. And I said, yeah, I passed this on. Well, first I would tell Roz that I have this person, they'll give a pledge, send her an email, said, here's the numbers that I have for, or here's the phone number and email that I have for them. Right. And then I sent them one that said, thank you. And then just said, I've sent this to Roz. She will be in touch with you. So that part, after you've done the pledge part, then it's over to Nicole and Roz to be able to go talk to them and talk about different options, and they can go much more detail if they need to. Because I think the part that's interesting is like stocks and things. There's some people that, you know, that's what I did. I did stocks because I didn't, you know, have to not only got you got the deduction for the gift, you didn't have to pay capital gains on that. So it was really good for me to do it that way. So anyway, there's some people that's an easier way to do it, and it wasn't hard. So they'll take you through all that. So with that, Nicole, thank you very much and appreciate it again. I do need to tell you that Roz has done a superb job, and I'm sure you know that, but I will tell you personally, I mean, she is awesome to work with, and was always there, even on the weekend and Labor Day weekend. And what was your car exploding or something?
Yes, had to get new tires.
Yeah, new tires and the stop engine, or the engine
all
off.
my lights came on my dashboard. It was lovely.
She still sent out the email to all of you saying, hey, you're invited to a Tuesday meeting after Labor. So that was good. Okay, so Nicole, over to you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for the kind words on our team. But mostly I want to thank you all for your yourself and Nate for organizing this group. We see an incredible difference when there is good squadron representation. So this is sort of, not sort of, it is a critical part of class giving projects. So thank you for all joining this call and your willingness to support the project, because it will be an incredible addition for the cadets. And I do want to touch on Nate's point because I have received or fielded a call from a STARS person as well. And I just want to reiterate, this is for the cadets. If they're upset with the superintendent or any leadership, this doesn't impact them. This would only impact, they're not hurting, Superintendent Clark. He'll be off and retired in a few years and happily moving on. This is for the cadets to enjoy and to be able to have peace of mind during their free time. So I just want to reiterate that I understand that they have their frustrations, but this is totally separate. So hopefully we can get them to join in and be willing participants of your class project. So with that, I will go ahead and share my screen. I have a couple of slides. We'll send them to you, but for the most part, I'm just going to keep it pretty high level because you all seem like a very social group and that you can speak to your classmates and your squadron mates. So, so let me get started with sharing my screen here. Can everyone see it okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So the first thing I want to go over is just sort of what are the responsibilities, and to me it's that personal touch. Is you've been asked to do this not because I'm not willing to. I'm happy to speak to all of class of 74. If you ever need to chat, my cell phone, my direct line, my email, it's all in my signature, so you can communicate with me whenever you like. But the truth is that it makes such a difference to have you all be volunteers and part of this committee. So you're going to help lead the efforts for your squadron, and it's going to be really impactful. And like Nate and General McNabb said, you'll probably have some great conversations, not just about the project, but catching up with classmates. So I hope that for all of you. One of the big things for me to share with you is, well, one, if you can make your gift, if you haven't already, that goes a long way, showing that you also believe in this project. And so I encourage you to do that before you start making calls. But I also encourage you to sort of take a step back and think about what part of this compelled you to agree to Nate or General McNabb's call to be a squadron rep. What about this project made you think, yeah, I want to help with that? Because that'll go a long way on your call, making it a personal conversation and really sharing what brought you to this, because that might help someone better understand the project when you make it more personal rather than just reading our case statement for funding per se. So, and then also be comfortable with the way you communicate. So if you want to send a text before and say, hey, I want to call you to chat, you can do that. If you want to do Zoom calls, if you just want to, churn through phone calls, do that. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, that's how you should do it, because this is peer-to-peer calling. So make it what works best for you, or do 2 calls a day or whatever it may be. Or if you're Doug, take out a squadron mate to play golf, right? And then
Yeah.
ask them there. Okay, so on this slide, and again, we'll share these with you, it has our email information. It also has the link, which is pretty easy. Hopefully that it'll make it easier for on calls, sharing the website. And then as mentioned, once someone says, yes, I'd love to give X amount, please email that information over to us. We will get it recorded in our database as a verbal commitment so that we can ensure that we close those in a timely manner. And Raz will likely reach out to the graduate and close out that gift. So we will take care of that end. Or you could just lead them straight to the site if they want to do that and they don't need another phone call. So whichever way they'd like. And if they have questions, and I can send this link as well, about different ways of giving, we do have a page on the foundation website that talks about stock or plan giving, or, you know, any way you can think about giving. We probably have an answer to that. Even a Venmo is available. So, okay.
Nicole,
Yes.
can I say so on this? I never pushed somebody to give me an amount, or some did and said, no, I'll give this much, and then I'd pass that. But a lot of them just, you know, one, they wanted to go think about it, and they wanted to talk to their, you know, their spouse.
Right.
I guess for us it'd be wives. So, but I would say that I never felt bad at all, because they would do that with, you know, I was thinking back on your stars question. So Rod Bishop was one that he's an old friend of mine. So I called him and I went through all that, and he did give, but you know, he had all those, but he and I talked about that, and I said, it's just for the cadets, just as you mentioned. And I think that really is a positive. And the other one that is Nicole, as you brought up, is, and in the little draft email I sent you, I think the big part was when we, as a gift committee, after talking to as many of our old friends and all the folks, we came back and said, this has to be for the cadets. It's not, and the second the second part of that was, we didn't want to do an O&M project or a project that the academy should do and be funded through the Air Force. We wanted to do something that would never be funded by the Air Force. And the third one was Rich Haney's big thing. He says something that we could be passionate about and the cadets could be passionate about. So those are the three, and you can always say those are the three things. And so as we narrowed down the list, they had to meet those three criteria, and we ended up having three really good things, and then ended up here and went out to everybody and said, what do you think of the three? And this was the one that came out. So I think it was a very positive process, but it was really that this is for the cadets. It was really stressed, and I think it really paid off when you went out with how many of the cadets said they would use it. It was like 87 or 85 to 90%, you know, would use it for sure. And a lot of them said that we know we will use it, and then we will even more, you know, maximize our use of it. So anyway, very positive. So just a couple of thoughts. Sorry.
Yes, please. No. Please share. I am unfortunately not a grad. You know, it pains me to admit that. So I haven't done, you know, grad to grad calling. So any information, any experiences you have, please share, because I do think they're helpful. And to your point, sir, I think, you know, our job is to help grads and parents and friends of the academy find an area that brings them joy. So when you're talking to your fellow classmates, like what about this project, like I mentioned before, would bring you joy if you were a cadet? You know, was it after, you know, a bad exam? Was it when you were happy, when you wanted to nap outside, whatever it may be? So I'm going to move on to the next slide. Also, if you speak to a classmate and they say, oh no, my phone changed, or I'm not in Florida anymore, I'm in Virginia, please let us know that information if they're okay with it, so that we can properly update their record and, you know, send their tax receipt to the right address. They can ensure that they get reunion information, things of that sort. We would really appreciate it. So you can send that along to us and we'll get it updated. As this next slide is sort of about, or is not sort of, it is about asking for a gift. As I mentioned before, making your own gift goes a long way. So if you haven't done so, highly encourage you to do so. And then as General McNabb and I have mentioned, you know, it's for the cadets. So you're not asking someone to give you money. So don't be embarrassed to make an ask, because it's it's not a personal favor or anything like that. They're doing something for their alma mater as well, for the cadets of today and the future. You know, this trail should live, or excuse me, this the path should live on in perpetuity. So for many generations of cadets to come. As I also have mentioned, is be comfortable, make it your call. Do it how you feel comfortable. It'll go a long way. And then just that personal contact. Make sure you enjoy the call. So any reminiscing you want to do, go for it. These don't have to be strictly business. So please, we hope that you'll enjoy the experience of chatting with your classmates. And then one thing that I always say to new fundraisers, like there's nothing worse than surprise fundraising. So let them know why you're calling, or text them and say, hey, I want to call you in a little while to discuss the Forevermore Overlook, something of that sort, you know, supporting it. Yep, just be upfront with why you're calling, and, you know, reminding them that your 50th is coming up in 2 years, things of that sort. And then I'll go over 7 and 8 later, because we have some, you know, potential reasons that someone would object or questions that they might ask. So I'll go over that in a little. But yeah, if someone refuses to make a gift, not a problem. We understand that people are going through different things in their life, or they might not feel motivated for this project. And again, that's perfectly okay. If you could just let us know, so we can earmark them as someone that won't be making a gift to this project. These are the levels that are stated on the Falcon Funder page. So you can easily select one of these. But as has been previously mentioned, someone should make a gift at whatever amount they feel comfortable with. And obviously there are different styles of making these calls. I do like presenting an amount, because if I say, would you be willing to make a contribution of $10,000 over 5 years, and they go, oh, then we can talk a little bit more, right? I can say, what about, do you think you would be comfortable with 5,000 or something? So it's not just one amount or nothing, you know, it can open up a discussion, or maybe the $74 a month, or, you know, so it's sort of like improv, right? In improv, you're not allowed to say no, or like finish something with a you know, cutoff statement. So just make it more of a conversation, or you're more than welcome to take General McNabb's route of just where do you see yourself in this project? So make
Nicole,
it.
let
Yes,
me just
sir.
put my oar in the water again on this one.
Please
You
do.
guys, we had somebody who made a small pledge on the website before we called them, and then we called them and said, well, how about this number instead? And it added 2 zeros to the pledge. Part of why we are where we are is because we got some big gifts as a result of people actually asking for a dollar amount.
Mhm.
I know most of you haven't raised a lot of money like I have, both for politics and for charities, but I just tell you that asking for an amount,
Mhm.
the way I view it is asking somebody to contribute $2,000 a year for 5 years, or $1,000 a year for 5 years, is actually an acknowledgement of those people. Like, you know, that they are generous human beings who have been successful in life.
And they can say no, and it's not personal, or they can lower the amount, or if they say yes really quickly, you probably should have asked for a little more. So these are just suggested amounts. Again, they're like one-click buttons on the Falcon Funder page, but they are welcome to hit the Give Now button and pick any sort of recurring gift or a one-time gift. They can certainly adjust that. this is what our Falcon Funder page looks like. I had mentioned it before. Here's some actual images of the design. So that's sort of exciting to be able to share that. And then the view, of course, of the Forevermore overlook. And then reading through this can also help you in your conversation and how you start your chats with each of your classmates. Did you, am I the only one hearing that noise? Is it from the PowerPoint, Raz? No.
I think it's from the PowerPoint, and you're
Okay.
probably the only one who can hear it.
Okay, it sounds like a fighter jet every time I switch slides.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a sample email. You are welcome to use this. Again, we will share these slides with you. So this is something you can review. You can also use some of this information for your calls. If you need additional information, please feel free to reach out to us. So as Nate was mentioning, the reason for your calls is certainly to get your class to the finish line. Please look towards multi-year pledges. As was mentioned before, if we have the pledges, the foundation can do some forward funding. Please encourage your classmates to participate, and if they can participate over more than 1 year, even better. Participation is really crucial, as was mentioned before at this point. And since it's broken down into squadrons, I think that's one of the tactics that can be used. We're really pushing for Squadron 24 to have 100% or 90% or above, things of that sort, and let them know that they're part of that greater good of making the squadron look good. Because we do have, if you look behind Raz, it's very small, but that is an honor roll poster board that we will have at the 82 reunion banquet, and it includes every squadron and everyone that's donated to each squadron, and the participation rate. So they'll certainly want to have their names on there when your class of 74 50th banquet comes around. So and then of course, if someone's not interested in the size gift that you might suggest, please encourage them to participate. $100, whatever it may be, but we're really trying to push for participation. And these are your committee members. We do have a general email that comes back to Raz and I, and if they address anyone specifically, we certainly forward it along and let you know. So-and-so sent an email to you. So, and then our contact information is below. So as I mentioned, feel free to reach out, and when I email you back, you will have my cell phone as well. So these are questions you might receive. How much did you give? I already gave last year, things of that sort. I think the biggest one for me is what I'm going to give is so small, it's not even worth it. Again, the participation rate and the representation of your squadron is so important to celebrating your class and this gift project in 2 years at your reunion. So just letting them know that every gift makes an impact. It's a cumulative impact. And yes, some will give more and some will give less, but it all adds up. So you can certainly review these. I want to keep it sort of high level to not bombard you. I think I'm done. So I'll open it up to questions. I also want to open it up. If if you all have any experience you want to share, happy to have those comments shared as well.
Good. Thanks, Nicole.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Hank.
Yes, I was going to ask, in some of the literature we got, there's our list, I guess, of our classmates, our squadron mates. Okay. One of my guys has already given. Now, I don't need to contact him then, right? Or should I? Maybe just a thank you?
Go ahead, Roz or Nicole.
You certainly can contact and thank them. I mean, you can also look at the donor wall, and if you think they're capable of making another gift,
Okay.
feel free to do that. It's a judgment call.
Yeah.
I think if I could, I think that if that came up, I think I would call them,
Mhm.
thank them.
Me
And
too.
Yes.
say, provide, we're now providing more
Thanks.
information, and if that might help, as you think about this. That way all you're doing is saying thank you, and then also we got additional information, kind of how this all fits together, and then let them, again, I more leave it to them and let them figure this out, and it ends up it's been very positive. So
Okay, good. Yeah, the other
Definitely a
question
thank you
I-
call.
Okay. One other question I had was about that list itself. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a nice grouping of my class and my squadron mates. Is it okay if I share that list with each one of them, or should we consider that kind of proprietary?
Go ahead, Russ.
We've typically asked to not share that, and
Okay.
just within the committee members, and just for the purposes of this project,
Okay.
only because of confidentiality.
Right. Well, that's what I was
Concerns.
a little concerned about. That's good. I'll
Mhm.
just leave it at that. Thank you, Roz.
No
Yeah, I-
problem. In fact, we have a confidentiality agreement I'll be sending you to
Oh.
sign and send us back.
All right. Thank you.
Did I sign one of those, Raz?
I think you did once upon a year.
I think
Ross,
the part that to me was the most sensitive is it says who gave,
Yeah, that's right.
especially
That's
as it fills out.
Yeah.
exactly.
But just don't want to have, that's not fair to people. I don't think.
Yep.
So.
I
Yeah,
will
Bob.
say, oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is Jay. One thing to know too is like some folks are not necessarily or want to stay anonymous
Mhm.
as far as maybe how much they give
Yep.
and or even that they gave. Okay.
Oh,
I mean, I'm really a kind of guy, when I give, I want it to be anonymous. In this case, that doesn't really matter, but because to me, the importance is the gift itself, not your own personal recognition. So I want to make sure that folks understand that when they go to that web page, they have a choice of anonymizing the actual money they're giving, and they can anonymize themselves too.
Yep.
But I think we should, at least make sure they know that that's available. And then another topic is, so we are guaranteeing everybody, assuring everybody that these funds are strictly dedicated to our project.
Yeah.
How is that actually being handled financially? So we can assure them that that is in fact the case.
So there is a specific fund within our foundation, our 501c3, that all funding that is done on the Falcon Funder, on our giving page, mailed in any form, is put directly into that fund. And as invoices come in, those are paid, such as the design. So the superintendent covered the beginning of it, and now we're covering the rest of it with the funding that's coming in. So there is a specific fund. It's not just going into an open, pot of money.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, all right, that sounds
and
good.
Jay,
Thanks.
one other thing is going back to your first point. One of the things the committee decided is this is just a class gift. So we're not going to have a donors wall with these are the gold stars and these are the silver stars or anything like that. So it's just going to be a gift from the class of 1974. And whether you gave $1 or you gave $100,000, you're a donor.
Okay, so now that you say that, I mean, is there going to be some plaque someplace that lists all our names that actually gave and those,
No,
therefore those that are excluded didn't?
no,
Okay.
that's the point. That's
Okay.
exactly the point. Exactly.
Right
So
answer.
even with the like foam board behind Raz, those that are anonymous, we kept it anonymous. So there is like, you know,
Oh,
CS30 anonymous, and then, you know, Joe Smith and but we honor that that with the donor. You obviously get a check mark if someone's already given, just to respect that they've made a gift, so that you can say thank you, or however you want to handle that, but they've already made a gift. One thing I was going to mention is you can, not only can you make your gift anonymous, but you can also make it in memory or in honor of someone. So I know that has been a big thing for some classes and some grads, honoring fallen classmates. So
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. I noticed that. It's fairly obvious that you could do that, but well, maybe not so obvious. That's actually a good point to make. Yeah.
yeah, some people miss the darndest things on that page. Anyone else?
I've got a question. This might be better for Nate and Duncan. As far as the actual implementation, once it's done, did I understand that kind of we're hoping to get it done a year from now? So the class of 24 will be able to use it their senior year kind of exclusively. And then after that, is it the idea that all the cadets will be able to use it, just upperclassmen? Have we taken it that far yet?
Duncan, go ahead. Duncan, you answer that one. You're on mute, buddy.
Oh, you're
Duncan,
muted, Duncan.
He bailed.
I was being very eloquent too. I was.
that's really good what you said. I was
Almost done.
reading your lips.
So, no, I think a couple of things. One, we really stressed that this needed to be for not, for all classes, and that it should be part of the cadet area. Now, I don't know if it'll go that far, but right now that's the idea, is that it's part of the cadet area. It is daylight only because they don't want lights above the chapel.
Yeah.
And so I would say that it's really meant to be only for cadets. And so if it's, people wandering down there or parents come in, there will be ways, if you wanted to escort somebody up there, they'll be able to do that, just like you take them through the squadron. And there'll be times when you'll have open house, and we anticipated it be like the open houses that you have where, okay, now everybody can go up there, maybe on Parents Weekend, everybody can walk up there and do that. But that would be specific, but it's really for the cadets where they can get away and they don't need to have a bunch of officers coming through or other people coming through. It's really for them.
And
So
Hank, you got the timing right. The idea would be that we have a groundbreaking, Duncan, in the spring. Am I right?
Yeah, early spring. So
Early spring groundbreaking next year. So we'll do another mini reunion, and then when we do our 74 50th, we'll actually dedicate it, and it'll be open, like you said, to class of 2024. We'll have them there with us and say, "Here's your gift."
Great, thank you.
But when it comes available, fall of next year, correct?
yeah, so I think that I don't believe
Depends
we've
on
actually,
weather.
my thought is once they complete, I'll tell you what my vote would be, that you open it up.
Yeah.
And then you formally dedicate,
And again, it's open to all classes, not just 2024.
Everybody.
Right.
Okay, good.
I mean, I would say we hadn't really, as a gift, but I would say that would be my vote. I don't know how you feel, Nate, but I would go, once you get that,
As
you
soon
ought
as
to
it's
open.
ready, we should let them use it. Jay, by the way, I realized one more thing about your first question. There is a tax that, I shouldn't call it a tax. There's a small fee that we pay to the foundation for fronting the money and for handling all the paperwork and all that stuff, and using their 401c. So it's tax deductible. So there is a small piece that goes to the foundation.
Okay, all right, full disclosure, appreciate that. Yeah, as long as, I mean, that's like an administrative overhead kind of
That's
thing.
it. You got it.
Yes, sir.
What do you think
So
about-
it is, it
how much
supports Raz and I, the software that we use for Falcon Funder, the database, all the gift processing. the
Are we
project
paying you,
management
Nicole?
team. I don't know why, but it seems that way.
We're covering,
Um,
we're covering all your salary, right, Nicole?
Yep. I'm going on vacation thanks to 74. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Hey, good.
No vacation here, but I will say that I was speaking to one of the project managers earlier today, and the competitive bidding process should be happening, I believe this week. So it should be opening up. So we're trying to push it along and make sure we meet that timeline. I think Nate mentioned, this project started certainly weather dependent. So trying to utilize as much good weather as we can. So trying to hurry that along.
Yeah, we just a little more on 100% design. I think they must be finished since they're about to go out to bids. They were at 90% plus, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, Ross, I think when I talked to you. But so that's what we're waiting for now. Once we have that, now we go out with the gift, going out to get the additional funding. And once we hit our number at that time, then they can go ahead and let the contract. So, and we're hoping that would probably be in October. Ideally, we got about 60 days to see how much we can, but even if it has to delay a little bit, that's okay, because
You're not going to
you're
build
kind
it.
of late. You're too late for for this season to do it. And they'll start as early as they can in the next season, and they'll get that all done in about 6 months. So that gives you an idea. So that's why they figure they'll finish in the fall of 23. Okay, does that make sense, Hank? Yeah, okay, good.
Rob or Gil or Frosty, anything for you guys?
Nope.
Nope, I think you guys covered it. Thank you very much for all you do.
All right, you betcha.
Privilege.
Rob,
Hey,
anything?
there you are, man. Great to see you.
Hey,
I'm
hey.
in Del Rio. Working with the 20 and 21 classes.
Is that
If you
amazing?
can't believe that. It's a
Good
kick.
for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Hey, Gil, I see. How about you, Gil? Anything?
Oh, good to go, Duncan.
Okay, well, again, I really appreciate y'all doing it. I will be glad to send you my kind of the same note I sent to Roz on every one, and then the one that my thank you to the member that had Roz's stuff in there. If you would like me to send that to you along with the pyramid chart, I'll be glad to.
Yeah, definitely send the pyramid, Duncan.
Yeah, I'd like that pyramid one.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just send those out, and then that way you have them. You can use them or not. But that way it became very easy because you can just cut and paste and put in the new names. And Roz, I think that worked pretty good on your end, did it not? It did. Okay. Okay. So
Yes.
well, that's what we'll owe you, and good hunting. I will tell you I do think you have a lot of information, and everybody's come along. But please. Along with Nicole and Roz, Nate and I stand ready if you've got something that you want to chat about or technique or anything like that. Like I said, there's 2 different ways of doing it, and you have 2 people that did it different ways. I think Nate's more comfortable asking for money. So as you could probably tell, but anyway, so but be glad to chat about it, a strategy or anything like that, because it really worked actually very well. So I look forward to it. And again, for Nicole and Roz, so I'm going to tell you. We'll get back to you. We'll try to do another one of these once everybody signs up. Reach out
Yes,
to
sir.
them more, and then Nate and I will just reach out individually and let you know. So we got 5 of the 10, I think, is what I got, and so. We'll see what those other 5, whether they need to do that or not, or Nate and I do it just individually. Okay. So we'll
Yep.
be back.
Great.
And please share with us.
Don, can you stay on so we can talk about 23?
Oh,
For a
23rd.
Yeah,
Sure.
great. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, no, that sounds good. Okay. Everybody else good. And again, thanks again for doing it.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank
Great to
you.
see
guys.
again.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Ross. Thanks.
Thanks,
Nicole.
Nicole.
Thank you.
And Raj, you
Adios,
probably stay on. if it's
adios, muchachos.
Adios,
Bye,
Rob.
Rob.
All right.
Keep them flying.
See you
Bye,
guys.
guys.
74 forevermore.
You got it, Hank. Stay out of trouble.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Doug, call me when you're over again.
Okay, we will do.
Bye, buddy.